This is the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, and without a shadow of a doubt, this is objectively pretty much the best Android phone that you can get right now. And yet, for most people, this probably isn't a phone that they should buy. Well, at least not yet anyway. Let's dive in. So let's start with what makes this phone so good. And as with all Samsung flagships, probably the biggest standout feature is that display. And when I say biggest, I mean quite literally. This thing is huge. It's definitely not for the faint-hearted or for the small-handed, and for those looking for any semblance of one-handed use, yeah, that's not even close to a thing on this phone. But with all of that display on show, Samsung has packed in the specs to back it up. 120 Hz, 3088 by 1440 resolution, although still not at the same time, which is another thing altogether. But it's also up there as pretty much the brightest display that you can find on a phone. If you're someone who is always using your phone in direct sunlight, this display will tackle it head on, no problems. But honestly, aside from the huge size, this display is close to perfect, and it really does make consuming content and even just using your phone for all the regular stuff an absolute pleasure. And whilst the size of the phone might prove to be a put-off for some, the overall build quality and design of the phone may just be good enough to entice them back. This phone is beautiful to behold. Super thin and fairly consistent bezels all the way around the front of the display. We've got the incredibly tactile power and volume buttons on the side, that boxy top and bottom, which just makes it feel super premium in the hand. And the standout aspect of this design for me is that frosted bronze back glass panel, which is just downright phenomenal. Seriously, this frosted back just feels so nice in the hand. It just gives me confidence when I'm holding the phone. And for me, this is the new Ultra Premium. Glossy glass backs are a thing of the past. Frosted matte glass, it's the new top end. It also still has the best version of the hole punch, super miniature in size, but also located in the center, which means it really doesn't get in the way of any notification or status bar content at the top there. The haptic motor is also top class here, which, as I've always said, is one of the biggest contributors for me to whether a phone feels premium or not. And again, here, it's one of the many aspects that makes this phone feel super high end. Perhaps the only downside in regards to the design of this phone, aside from the display being curved and not flat, is that ginormous camera hump on the back of the phone. It's not like it looks that bad from a visual standpoint, but practically speaking, the way that it digs into your fingers and the serious amount of wobble that you get when the phone is laid flat on a table is kind of crazy. I feel like an equidistant, horizontally placed camera hump at the top of the back of the phone, whilst it might not look as nice, would be way more preferable in terms of practicality. But anyway, you kind of get over that camera hump when you see the results from this camera. Samsung flagships have always had very good cameras, and the images taken on the Note 20 Ultra definitely have that Samsung vibe about them, with great saturation and excellent dynamic range. But I don't think I've ever enjoyed using an entire camera array on a phone as much as I have with the Note 20 Ultra. Whether it be the main sensor or the ultra wide, both of which are fantastic, or even the selfie camera, which can capture great images as well. But I think what I actually ended up having the most fun with was that 5x periscope camera. Forget the 50x hybrid zoom, which, to be honest, I don't see too many people using all too often. The images taken from the 5x periscope lens are crisp. Like, it goes toe to toe with the quality of the images taken on the main sensor, and that is very rarely a thing when it comes to smartphone telephoto lenses. And the video quality, holy! The video captured on this phone is up there with the iPhones of the world in terms of image quality, but I actually think the average user will probably prefer the punchier results out of the Note 20 Ultra. The stabilization is on point, the tack sharp image quality is fantastic, and what I really like is that if you get nice and close to a subject, because of how big that main image sensor is, the natural depth of field and bokeh you can get is incredible. Now, beyond all that, for those who are all about the S Pen, the upgrades that have been brought about with this version on the Note 20 Ultra, they're pretty significant. Look, I'm not a huge stylus guy. It's never really been something that serves my workflow, but even I've gotten addicted to pulling out the pen and having a little scribble on the OLED panel. It's that nice of an experience. I think the only real downside of this phone is the battery. Now, it's not like it's a horrible battery per se, but when I see that it's a 4500 mAh cell on paper, but struggle to get 4 hours of screen on time, I start to feel a little miffed. Sure, there is a lot of phone to power here, I get that, but again, I'd be hoping for at least 5 hours of screen on time with a battery and a phone of this size. But at this stage, that's not what I'm getting. But aside from that, I really have nothing else to complain about with the Note 20 Ultra. It really is an incredible phone. So why is it a phone that most people probably shouldn't buy? Well, I mean, it's that price. Right now, this phone is in its own league in regards to price, and it's kind of crazy how much it costs. But Samsung, along with Google, and along with a lot of other Android phone manufacturers for that matter, they're all companies with pretty reliable track records of slashing the prices of their phones fairly quickly. And the same will be true for the Note 20 Ultra. Like, you can pick up the Note 10 Plus, which is last year's equivalent to the Note 20 Ultra, for close to $1,000 Australian off what the Note 20 Ultra costs brand new. And to be honest, there isn't a whole lot different between the two phones, particularly when it comes to design. So if you want to be an early adopter and get this phone immediately, then you know my opinion won't sway you, and all power to you. You're gonna get a fantastic phone. You'll be stoked with the phone that you get, but it does pay to be an early adopter. For those who are happy to wait a little bit longer and perhaps see out the rest of the year with the phone you've already got in your pocket, you will absolutely reap the reward and save yourself a bunch of cash. It's kind of crazy. I really, really like the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. It is an incredible phone, and yet with its current price point, it makes it really hard to recommend. And so let's just cap the video by saying this. This is by far the best Android phone that you can get right now, but you probably shouldn't get it right now.